Right now at noon, thousands of people in the streets are demonstrating after President Trump's visit in London. We will have the very latest, and lawmakers say they will begin looking into whether the leading tech companies here in this country are too big. We'll tell you what questions they want answered.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Danica Lewis in for Mark Kane. Let's start right away over in the Weather Center, where meteorologist Chris Reese is taking a look at that first alert forecast, particularly some chances for storms, right, Chris?
That's right, and the 11 o'clock update from the Storm Prediction Center has actually upgraded the severe risk for parts of Wisconsin. Now, that's not with the storms that have come through this morning. Those are already moving out. In fact, we are starting to see some sunshine on the backside. Here's a live look from the station camera. A few storms still left. Those are working their way towards the south and east. But what we're watching is actually what's starting to develop right now over parts of western Minnesota. That, my friends, has the potential to become a little bit something more as we move into the evening and overnight hours, likely racing towards the south and east, potentially bringing some damaging winds with that. In fact, the damaging wind threat is what we're going to be focusing on, this entire area that you do see in the red. In the meantime, we do sit at 63 degrees. Winds starting to come out of the south, and I do think we'll see those temperatures top out into the upper 70s today. But Danica and folks watching at home, stay tuned. I'll go ahead and time out that line of storms and what it could mean for us when it arrives overnight coming up in Maine weather.
All right, sounds like a plan. We'll see you then. Thanks, Chris. An 18-month-old child only has minor injuries after falling out of a second-floor window. Lake Delton police officers arrived at a home Saturday after a neighbor called them and said they saw young children throwing toys out that window and felt that the situation was a bit unsafe. Officers advised the family member to make sure that window was secured. Later, the children were able to open that window again, and an 18-month-old fell out. Now, the child was taken to a local hospital where that child was later released. Lake Delton police reported the incident to Child Protective Services and said they will move forward with the case, or forward the case, that is, to the district attorney. We have some good news to share this afternoon. Just within the last few minutes, we have learned that a 56-year-old woman is back at home after being missing since late last night. Madison police were called to the 2500 block of South Stoughton Road after family members said Bonnie Dowd walked out of her home sometime between 11 and 11:30 p.m. and never came back. They were worried about her welfare, but again, Bonnie has returned home and is safe. A teenager is in the hospital after a crash Sunday night in Monroe County. Deputies say a 15-year-old from Monroe was driving a car in the North 1500 block of Steiner Road in the town of Cadiz when the car left the road and hit a fence. That car was later found in Monroe. Officials say that a 14-year-old passenger who was injured was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. Deputies found the driver and another passenger who were not injured. The car's airbags did not deploy during that accident. The driver was ticketed on suspicion of operating without a valid license. In Connecticut, authorities have revealed a new twist in the case of a missing mother, saying some of her blood has been found in places where her estranged husband and his girlfriend may have been seen on camera. Jennifer Delos was reported missing by friends back on May 24th. Fotis Delos and Michelle Tronconis are both charged in connection with Jennifer's disappearance, but neither have entered pleas at this time. Investigators say they obtained surveillance footage that shows a man fitting Fotis's description, stopping at more than 30 locations the day Jennifer disappeared and, quote, placing multiple garbage bags into various trash receptacles.
They haven't been formally charged with a murder, but I would expect once that there is definitive evidence that loss of life occurred, I would expect that they're going to be charged.
A judge is holding Fotis Delos on a $500,000 bond. Michelle Tronconis was released on that same amount. They will both be back in court a week from today. Back in Madison, a pit bull terrier pup is back home this afternoon, and a teenager is in custody for allegedly stealing her. Little Diamond was taken Saturday after disappearing from her outdoor kennel on Sunfish Court in Madison. Police received information that the puppy was at an address in Fitchburg. A 17-year-old admitted to taking that puppy and was arrested on suspicion of theft. Happening now, the president continues his state visit in the UK, with today's events much more focused on politics than pageantry. As President Trump meets with key leaders in the British government, protests continue to grow on the streets of London. Here's Ian Lee.
President Trump's royal treatment turned to mockery on the streets of London. A giant robot betrayed the American leader, tweeting from a golden throne.
It's a tribute to Trump in all his greatness.
A baby blimp hovered over Parliament, depicting the American leader in a diaper.
This is kind of all about giving him a taste of his own medicine. You know, he's someone who is notorious for his kind of mockery of people.
Police kept protesters away from the president, who got down to business on day 2 of his state visit.
Stick around, let's do this deal.
Mr. Trump told outgoing Prime Minister Theresa May the U.S. will support the UK despite the turmoil over Brexit.
As the UK makes preparations to exit the European Union, the United States is committed to a phenomenal trade deal between the U.S. and the UK. There is tremendous potential.
President Trump tweeted that he hadn't seen any protests and that there's plenty of love for him in Britain. But there's no love for him among these demonstrators, who have one message for him: go home.
America, to me, stands for liberty, justice, truth, none of which are anything to do with Donald Trump.
But supporters say it's an insult to snub the leader of Britain's closest ally.
I think you have to offer a certain element of respect for the office.
Protests this year were smaller than the massive demonstrations during the president's working visit last year.
It was a very, very small group of people put in for political reasons, so it was fake news. Thank you.
Tonight, President Trump and the First Lady will host a dinner at the U.S. ambassador's residence to honor the royal family. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
President Trump will use the next 2 days to mark the 75th anniversary of D-Day, with events starting in Portsmouth, England, where the invasion was launched. On Capitol Hill, Democrats and Republicans say they want to investigate the leading global tech companies based here in the United States. CBS News has confirmed the Trump administration and Congress are working together to examine Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon. The House Judiciary Committee is currently looking into the market dominance of U.S. tech giants to determine whether their size is hurting consumers and whether antitrust statutes need to be updated for the first time in decades.
Are we allowing the market to work? Are we allowing new companies to rise up?
These are statutes that were developed principally during the railroad monopolies. It's a very different economy now.
The Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission are signaling they may open their own probes. The DOJ would look into Apple and Google, and the FTC would look into Facebook and Amazon. Lawmakers say they want to hear from the leaders of those tech giants and plan to hold hearings and call witnesses, even if they need to issue subpoenas. And after 33 games and more than $2.4 million, Jeopardy contestant James Holzhauer, his winning streak has ended on the cusp of a record-breaking victory. He was less than $60,000 shy of former contestant Ken Jennings' record for the highest winnings in a regular season. Now, early on, Holzhauer did set the record for the most money won in one episode and walked away with the 16 highest one-day totals in Jeopardy history, winning an average of $77,000 per game. Not too shabby. On 12 shows during his streak, he went the entire game without missing a single question. Still quite a feat there. There is more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, let's see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
It's berry season, so let me show you how to turn these into this. What is it, and is it easy to make? Well, the only way to find out is to stick around.
Do you
You know, before we get going, I want to thank you for allowing me to come into your home every day and for sharing your comments with us on our website and Facebook. So as a special thank you, what do you say we whip up a dessert that's bursting with berries? The first thing we want to do is trim and slice about a quart of fresh strawberries. The easiest way to remove the stem is, well, believe it or not, with a plastic straw. All we do is insert it in the bottom of a berry and push it up. There you have it. To these, we add some sugar and a bit of cornstarch and give them a good toss. Now we add in some French bread that we've cut into cubes, along with some melted butter. After everything is tossed, we spoon it into a baking dish and into the oven it goes. By the time it's done, the whole house will smell amazing. You see, as the berries cook and the sauce coats the toasted bread, we end up with one incredible combination. A little whipped cream goes on top, and before you know it, you'll be doing the happy dance. To get the recipe for what we call Strawberry Betty, all you have to do is go online. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a very good way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
There is more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, a bit of a cloudy start to your Tuesday, and there are some rain chances to talk about in the area. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast right after this. Welcome back. We do have another data breach to tell you about today. This one involving a medical testing company and millions of its users. Plus, Walmart is stepping up its benefits for young employees. Here's Diane King Hall with your Money Watch report.
Stocks rallied in the early action after China struck a more neutral tone today. Its Ministry of Commerce said the trade battle with the U.S. needs to be resolved through further talks, quote, based on mutual respect, equality, and benefit. Quest Diagnostics says nearly 12 million patients may have had their personal information exposed in a security breach. The company says one of its billing collection firms alerted Quest last month that an unauthorized user breached its system and accessed private information. The compromised information includes credit card and bank account numbers, medical records, and Social Security numbers. Meanwhile, California, Hawaii, Maine, and Washington, D.C. are the latest state and local governments to file lawsuits against the maker of OxyContin and its members of its controlling family, the Sacklers. Purdue Pharma is accused of aggressively marketing prescription painkillers, which allegedly help lead to widespread opioid addiction and overdose deaths. And in the race to strengthen its workforce, Walmart is extending a new benefit to high school students. The company says it will offer free SAT and ACT prep courses for its high school workers. Walmart estimates about 25,000 employees under the age of 18 work at its stores. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
As Diane just mentioned, a little bit of a rally for the stock market so far today. You are looking at the Dow up about 400 points, the NASDAQ up about 140, a little short of that, and the S&P 500 a little more than 40 points up this morning. Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee is out of the radio barn today, but here are your farm numbers. And we're hoping meteorologist Chris Reese has some good news for the farmers as well. Chris, how are the storm outlooks looking right now?
Well, for tonight, things could get wet for a lot of folks, maybe not everyone, but the chance is certainly there. But we're going to watch what happens as we go through the rest of the week and into the weekend. In the meantime, we're seeing a little bit more sunshine out there after the cloud cover this morning. We did have some showers and thunderstorms that rolled through. A lot of those now pushing towards the south and east. We do sit at 63 in Madison, winds taking over out of the south at 11 miles per hour. We're going to watch how well our temperatures get to rebound later on. You see that area of cooler temperatures where some of those showers and thunderstorms are right now, where you've had the sunshine for a couple hours. Temperatures are already into the low 70s. Boscobel at 70, Prairie du Chien also at 70, Dubuque at 71. The showers and thunderstorms, though, those are now south and east of Madison. They've been falling apart in the process. One lone little heavier shower as you work your way towards the Dane County, Rock County line. That's going to be moving towards the southeast in time. But folks, what we're actually paying attention to is this little line. In western Minnesota, you have one severe thunderstorm warning with that towards the northwest of Minneapolis. That's popped up over the past couple of hours, and that will have the potential to become something more as we move into the overnight hours. In fact, we do have this enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5 from the Twin Cities all the way down towards Green Bay. This is where there's a good threat for some damaging winds as we move into the overnight hours. In Madison, we are in a slight risk for severe weather. And really, that slight risk covers everywhere throughout the state other than that area where that damaging wind threat is going to be greatest, primarily over the north woods. The tornado threat is very low. That covers the western half of the state. The hail threat is there, again, for the western half of the state. Again, it is the wind threat that we're going to be watching. So not a big tornado outbreak expected or anything like that as we move into the overnight hours. But what we will see is a complex of showers and thunderstorms that will develop and then race its way towards the south and east as we move towards tomorrow morning. And you can't let your guard down with these kinds of setups. So make sure that you are at least weather aware. But again, I don't think it's going to be a huge deal for everyone, but we'll watch it. In the meantime, some sunshine this afternoon. Temperatures begin to rebound into the upper 70s for a lot of folks. Watch the overnight hours, midnight. Most folks asleep at this point. A lot of you still dry at this time, but then 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, that complex of thunderstorm starts to push towards the south and east. It's also going to be dying in the process. It's not going to have a lot of energy to work with at this point. This is not a favorable time for severe weather. So at this point, you're likely looking at remnant showers and thunderstorms, but nonetheless, they'll be there moving towards the south and east. And then eventually sunshine does return by Wednesday afternoon. We'll see those temperatures topping out into the upper 70s, even the low 80s for a lot of folks into your Wednesday. So again, a morning chance for some showers and thunderstorms. The sunshine then takes over into the weekend. There'll be a slight chance for showers on Saturday, but I do think we'll stay dry. That rain chance will stay mainly towards the south. On Sunday, though, that rain chance is creeping a little bit further to the north. No, we'll see if we can, snap at it a little bit, maybe get it to trend further towards the south again. But hey, even early next week, other than that rain chance on Sunday, is looking very dry and very mild. So not too shabby of a forecast. I think the farmers are going to see this and say, I can roll with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for all the good news, Chris.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. All right. Ahead on News 3 now at noon, a kindergarten student in Maine is becoming the teacher. We'll explain after a short break. A kindergartner in Maine is teaching her classmates about people who are hearing impaired. Those small students have some big hearts, all jumping in to learn and communicate in a new way. And now a fairy tale visitor is helping them celebrate. Talia Clark has that story.
Students have a special surprise here in Dayton as the school welcomes a Disney princess that specializes in sign language.
Kindergartner Maury Bellinger is the first deaf student to ever attend Dayton Consolidated School. As soon as staff learned that she would be a student, they made it a goal to teach everyone the proper communication technique.
With sign language.
Teachers posted signs throughout the school to help students learn.
They have been phenomenal. It makes me a little mushy. They probably know at least 15 signs, if not 20.
Today, teachers rewarded students by welcoming Cinderella for a princess party. She sang to students in sign with a little help from Maury.
This is a special day for her, not only to celebrate her and all of her growth and achievement, but the school as well, and how much sign language the students and the staff have learned.
Maury's mom, Shannon Bellinger, says her daughter is receiving a ton of support.
Just makes you feel like, you know, she's in the right place.
What a neat story there. Let's turn it over for one more look at weather with Chris Reese.
Of course, we're going to be watching that storm chance overnight, but the rest of this afternoon, fantastic. You're going to see a little bit more humidity and temperatures in the upper 70s. And then again, that storm chance overnight towards tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much, Chris. We'll see you back here for Live at 4.